Hi everyone, welcome to this little mini unit. This is called Writing a Trope Christmas Movie Style Story, which I know is kind of a mouthful, but I think that you'll really enjoy this. My name is Hannah McAdams, and today we're going to talk about an introduction to this style of writing and also a little bit about plot. Okay, so let's get started. Writing a story can sometimes feel overwhelming, especially if you don't know what to write about. Uh, so, in this class, we will study the elements of a story and how to create a story, a holiday story outline using the same formula that Christmas movie writers use. I hope that you know what I mean by these Christmas movies. We'll talk about that in a minute, but we will focus on how to write a story without the pressure of what to write about. We pretty much know what to write about, okay? How do you feel about cheesy holiday movies? Now, you may hate them, you may like to make fun of them. After we watched a Christmas movie together, my son asked me if I liked Christmas movies or if I just liked to make fun of them, and I simply said yes. So that's all I'm going to tell you. Yes. All right. There is something comforting about a predictable happy ending. I think it's because life is not predictable and it is not always happy. So it's nice to watch something that is. In 2021 alone, Hallmark produced 41 new Christmas movies. And not only that, but other people are starting to produce them as well. Other networks such as Netflix are producing them. So you can find them all over the place. They are low budget and they make lots of them every single year. So obviously, many people enjoy these stories. Now, if you don't, that's okay. You can still write one. My suggestion to you is if you don't like these kind of stories, then just make one over the top and make fun of it as you write, okay? Because that will be fun. All right, so I call this writing a trope Christmas movie style story. So what is a trope? A trope is a commonly used device or motif in a movie or story. So it's easier for me to give you some examples than to give you the definition. So for example, in horror movies, it is always a bad idea to leave the group. What happens to the person that decides to go off on their own? Yep. Okay, in action movies, the hero walks away from an explosion. We see this over and over again. You know what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's kind of in slow motion and there's a car blowing up or a building blowing up and they're just walking toward the camera with a real cool look on their face. That happens all the time, right? In science fiction movies, a child trusts an alien. Think E.T., Lost in Space. Some of those movies or shows, you can see a child trusting an alien. Sometimes it's a good idea and sometimes it's not. But that happens a lot in science fiction movies, okay? So you understand kind of what this trope is. I've got some more examples. In romance movies, two people literally bump into each other. They run into each other, one falls, the other catches the other person, and they look into each other's eyes, you know, that kind of thing, okay? In any movie, old men with long beards are wise. Think Gandalf and Dumbledore. I don't know, long beards, that makes you wise. Okay, so that is a trope. We see it over and over again. All right, and in time travel movies, someone makes a mistake in the past that will destroy the future. That is something that happens over and over in time travel movies. My daughter loves time travel, and she is always pointing out that that is a bad idea to make a mistake in the past. Okay, all right, so you kind of have the idea of what a trope is. Now let's talk about some of the common tropes in holiday movies. All right, so we have a big city executive, so they have a big job like a lawyer or a CEO or something, and a small town shop owner. So maybe they make candles or they have a bookshop or they're a baker, something like that. Okay, opposites attract. So again, we had the big city and the small town. So that's an opposite, but sometimes other things are opposite as well. Okay, one character hates Christmas, the other one loves it. So that is definitely something that happens in most of these movies. Someone spills hot chocolate on the other person. That's usually when they meet. Again, not all these things happen in every single movie, but you see this over and over in these movies, okay? Someone makes cookies. They decorate cookies or gingerbread houses or something like that. They go to a Christmas tree farm. I honestly have never been to a Christmas tree farm, but every single person in these movies has, okay? And so many more. In fact, there were so many of them that I created a bingo game for watching these movies. And like there's, if they go sledding, then you put an X on the sledding. Or if they go to a dance, you put an X on that. Or if they have a big decision to make, things like that. I came up with more than 100 things that are common tropes in these holiday movies. So there's a lot, okay? At the end of 5 lessons, you will have a final project. You are going to choose one of these things, create a detailed story outline with character names, conflicts, events, and resolutions, or create a storyboard of the entire story. I have that mapped out for you. Or you can make a stop motion video of at least 3 scenes in your story. Or you can create a video that tells the whole story, so make the whole movie with, live action. Or you can make a promotional commercial with a few scenes from the movie. And those are mapped out in more detail in your lessons. But so this is kind of what we're working toward. You can pick one of these to do at the end of our lessons. Okay? All right, so today we're going to go over the basic plot of a holiday movie. Your assignment today is just to start thinking about what your story might be like, so you don't have to write anything down today. I just want you to start getting those wheels turning, start thinking about what you want to do. We will plan the details starting in lesson 2. Okay? All right, so this is a trope Christmas movie plot graph. Whew. Okay, so I know that's a lot of words, but anyway, we're going to go over what this is just very quickly, and then we'll start planning all these little details in the next couple lessons. Excuse me. Okay, so at the beginning, there's an introduction. In the introduction, we meet protagonist A, that's the main character who is in the big city. We meet protagonist B, who's the main character that's in the small town. We meet the antagonist, who is usually an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend of one of those people. We meet some minor characters, and we establish the conflicts. And then at the end of that, protagonist A travels to the small town, okay? And then we have our rising action. So we have everything that happens before the climax. So we have the protagonists meet, all right, in this genre, which is just a category of story like mystery or horror, or in this case, this is a kind of romance story, but it's a very it's its own little part, branch off of the romance category with Christmas movie. Okay, but in this genre, the 2 main characters meet, and usually they get into an argument immediately, okay? And then they are forced to work together on a project. Usually that project is the main event, which is in the falling action, but we'll get to there in a minute, okay? Then they have these minor events. While they're working toward the project, the protagonists do several holiday activities together, and they can be as simple as drinking hot chocolate or picking out a Christmas tree. So you pick out 4 of those, and we'll do that in a couple lessons. So we have minor event 1, minor event 2. So in minor event 1, they're still fighting. In minor event 2, they work together. In minor event 3, they become friends. And in minor event 4, as quickly as that, they decide to start dating. Okay, and as soon as they start dating, then there is the climax where they argue and break up. Okay, usually one protagonist finds out about the problem that the other protagonist was hiding, and that's why they break up. So it could be, sometimes there's a mistaken identity, not always. You can choose what you want their conflict to be, but so if a prince is pretending to be a normal guy, and then the girl finds out that the prince is really a prince, that's what makes them break up, because now she doesn't know if she can trust this guy, she doesn't even know him anymore, that sort of thing. Okay, then for the falling action, the story is quickly leading to the conclusion. Usually the protagonist A goes back to their hometown, or I mean to their big city, and then there's the major event and they decide to go back to the small town for the major event. The protagonist is that left because of the climax decides to come back for the major event. And then for the conclusion, they forgive each other, the couple dates or gets engaged, and sometimes we see their wedding at the following Christmas, and all the conflicts are resolved. Everyone lives happily ever after. Okay, so that is basically the story that you see over and over again. And again, like I said, Hallmark made 41 of these stories just this year. So it's a lot. Okay, that's all I have for you today, guys. I will talk to you next time. Bye.